My next guest is Hawaii's #1 ranked featherweight contender on Tapology, and you can catch his next fight at RUF 56 when he takes on Daeri Alderman in a featherweight title fight. He joins me right now. His name's Braydon Akeo. Braydon, welcome to the show, my man.
What's up, Tyler? How's it going, man?
I am doing well, and I gotta tell you, like, this is a new development, at least for me. I saw the old fight poster, I saw the announcement, and then recently the promotion put out a new one, and they said that this was a title fight. You got to be excited about that.
Yeah, man, I'm really am excited. It's gonna be my first pro title that I'm fighting for. Excited for the opportunity.
Well, I am just excited to learn a little bit more about your preparations going into your title fight. But I have to ask, like, when I think of you right away, I think about Bellator 235. That was when I first kind of like heard about your name kind of coming up on that scene. And I know that fight didn't go your way, but like there's like that two fight stretch, the Claxton fight and the Kilmer fight. Claxton and Kilmer are two absolute killers. You fought these guys back to back. And I wanted to ask you, just based off of those two fights, how did taking those losses, how did they help you evolve into a more complete fighter?
Man, seems like forever ago that Claxon fight. I feel like I've really matured and grown since then. Um, I feel like I'm with a new team, new coaches, new training partners. I feel like I'm a completely different fighter. I feel like I've really grown a lot since then. Um, that loss to Kilmer, that was probably the worst performance I've had in my life. But there's a lot of factors going into that. I just moved to the MMA Lab. I wasn't really settled in, but I feel like the fighter that I am right now is like night and day compared to a few years ago. I feel like I've really grown and taken my skills to the next level.
Braydon, that was definitely a question I wanted to ask you about training at the MMA Lab. Of course, the first guy I think of like Jared Cannonier. He's probably like the first guy I think of that's there. But that's a big gym. Some of the best fighters in the world are there. What was it like just kind of like getting acclimated to that? I know you're a Hawaiian dude and you move over stateside. That in and of itself isn't easy to do. And now you're in a completely different training environment. Like, was it a big adjustment period for you?
It was a huge adjustment, training with the best guys in the world. Not that I wasn't in Hawaii. When I was over in Hawaii, I was with some really good guys as well, former UFC champs, but just being in this room, like you mentioned, you got all these high level guys, the big names, Jared Cannonier, Benson Henderson, so many other guys to list, but it's not just them, it's every single guy in that room. They're killers, man. Like you don't get no easy rounds in that gym, so you're constantly forced to be better every day.
You most recently fought James Hurd and you were able to beat him by rear naked choke. And I wanted to ask you that one because looking at your Tapology profile, like that's your first submission victory since you were an amateur fighter. Can you tell me, like, how did you set that up?
I knew that once we took her to the floor, to the mat, I was on a completely different level than him. I think if you want to talk about technically how I set that up, I got into the mount, I stapled his arm, landed a big strike, and I felt he didn't want to be in there anymore. Gave up his back and sunk that choke in right away. Um, it was a big win for me. It was my first win in a few years. Good to get back on the right track. Hurd wasn't no slouch either. He was coming off a four or five fight win streak, all finishes. So to be able to go out there to North Carolina, his hometown, and finish him that easy, it was a good win for me, man.
I circled that one because, to your point, he had a lot more experience than you did. You're fighting in his home territory, and it had been you were on a two fight skid at that time, and there were probably a lot of easier fights that you could have taken. And I was curious, like, what was going through your mind in terms of like the lead up to that fight? Did you feel like it was kind of like, hey, listen, it's like do or die time. I need this win, and we're about to find out.
Definitely, man. I've never lost. I've been competing since I was 4 years old, and I can't remember the last time I lost two competitions in a row like that. So, just me as a natural competitor, I felt like my back was to the wall. Felt like I needed to go to get a win, not only a win, but a convincing win, a dominant win. I was happy I was able to go out there and do that.
Hey, and you went out there, like, you didn't leave it to the judges. You went out there and like you finished that fight. And when you finish a fight of that nature against somebody who's highly experienced, like James Hurd, like what does that do for your confidence ahead of like a big fight, such as the one that you're about to find yourself here in a couple weeks?
I put the work in every day, but just to go out there under the lights and do that, it's just like it's reassurance that we're doing the right things. We're doing the right things in training, and just got to keep getting better. And like you said, like this fight coming forward, it's a big fight. I'm just happy for the opportunity. I'm excited to go out there and bring this belt back.
This is your very first time fighting for RUF. I know that they're a promotion that's in the Phoenix area. That's probably a gym that, or I'm sorry, your gym is probably quite familiar with this promotion. But like, this is your first fight with them, and they're giving you a title fight. I mean, it's a headline fight. It's a very big deal. And can you tell me a little bit, like, at what point did you find out that this was going to be the headline fight for the evening?
I knew it was going to be for the title right when I talked to the matchmakers from the beginning. They weren't quite sure on the order, things of that such, but I found out about a week or two ago that it was going to be the main event, which made the stakes a little higher for me. I'm pumped up. It's my first time fighting in Phoenix in front of a bunch of friends and teammates and stuff, so I'm excited to go out there, man.
Because this fight isn't in Hawaii, is there less pressure?
Just pressure everywhere you go. I feel I put the most pressure on myself. I feel like fighting at home is more distractions, but I wouldn't necessarily call it pressure.
For Alderman, he's 4-0 going into this fight. Tough guy by all stretches. It's going to be a tough fight, but hey, that's why both of you are in this title fight. He's good, you're good. When you look at this guy, like, can you tell me a little bit, like, do you see things in your own game when you compare yourself to him, like, that you feel that gives you a huge advantage over your opponent?
Man, don't let records fool you. I know it says he's 4-0 on paper, but honestly, when I look at this guy, me and him are on completely different levels. This is going to be a big step up in competition for him. He's never fought anybody on my level versus me. I've fought way better guys than him. I think that's the big difference. I'm actually going into this fight as the veteran, regardless if he's 4-0. I feel like he just made his pro debut last year. He's not really ready for this level of competition, and I'm going to go out there and show that.
Going into this one, the headline fight, going up against Alderman, what would like winning the belt mean for you at this point in your career?
You know, as far as like meaning something to me, I feel like every fight is important and every win is important to me. This is just like reassurance to me that I'm on the right path. People might be confused why I'm getting a title shot right away, but I think this is put more respect on my name. I feel like I'm headed towards the big shows, and maybe not this fight, maybe not after this fight, maybe it might be a couple more fights, but whatever it is, I'm willing to just keep stacking up these wins, keep collecting these belts. When the big shows call, I'll be ready.
At the MMA Lab, who have been some of your main training partners getting ready for Alderman?
And we got so many good guys. We just did a sparring rounds yesterday. Did my first round with Kyler Phillips. Benson Henderson's been helping me a lot with this camp. Got a few other pro guys, Angel. We got a bunch of good guys, high level black belts that I'm going with on a day to day basis. I feel like all the looks that I'm getting, there's nothing this guy isn't going to show me that I won't be ready for.
Braydon, for everyone that's coming out that bought a ticket, that's going to come out to watch you perform, what's something that they could expect from you on fight night?
Man, expect a war. I know Alderman's a tough guy. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish him in the first round, but I believe I'm going to break this guy down and expect to finish, man. I'm coming out there, get this W.
The fight happens, ladies and gentlemen, on October 28th. You are not going to want to miss it. Braydon, I appreciate your time this afternoon. I want to give you the final word. If there's any training partners or sponsors that you'd like to thank before I let you go, let's knock it out.
Yeah, man. I had a bunch of great local companies hop on board. AZ Hawaiian Garlic Shrimp, shout out to them. Ancient Elite Performance, they've been with me since day one. Mitchell Chiropractic, Recovery. My boy Ernie over there has been taking care of my body. Shout out to all my sponsors, man. I really appreciate all of you guys.
Braden, I appreciate your time this afternoon. I wish you the best of skill on October 28th, and I hope we can have you back very soon, sir.
Hey, thank you for having me on the show, Tyler. You have a good one.